I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So this is the time we'll bring the safety meeting to order. Is there any corrections or approvals to the minutes from the June 13th meeting? Hearing none, do we have a motion to accept the minutes?
Make a motion that we accept the quarterly safety meeting.
Second,
I'll second.
What do you need?
here, I have. So Rhodey, you have claims to report?
Sure, I had ordered the lost runs from both NACO and the state fund, and I haven't received them yet, so what I will do is I'll forward those to Billy so that she can circulate them. But the only thing I have as an update from the last time we talked was on 8/9 of 2023, we had the deputy picking up the new vehicle. And it was a hit and run, so that's a claim, and then we had a small fender bender on 7/20 where a sheriff's car hit the Missoula fire truck on Lower Rock Creek Road. So those are the only two claims that I'm aware of since we last talked. I will get those lost runs to Billy so that you guys have those for your records. And that's all I have. Unless anybody has any questions.
Are there any questions on that? So next we have Brody, who has a Montana Safety Cultural PowerPoint.
So this is just something that we thought that we would put together just to remind your employees on how to properly report accidents, because we don't have one not too long ago, it wasn't reported as a timing now.
Yes.
So just to kind of re-emphasize that with all your employees. And then to why we have to do all these things through the state of Montana, through the Montana Safety Culture Act. So I think that'll really come across to your employees, why you guys have to do these things and why you have to enforce them. Because it is required by the state. And then I just think it's really important that we do what you guys' responsibilities as elected officials are and department heads for safety. And then also the employees' responsibilities. And then we also came up with some goals for the county on the very last slide to try to attain throughout the course of the year or on an ongoing process. So it's gonna be more of an ongoing process and it's gonna take some time to reach these goals, but just take a look at it. I mean, this is still in review stage, so anything that you guys think need to be changed or you want to tweak a little bit, please feel free to let us know, and we're happy to do that.
So the idea is, this is in review stage for the commissioners to take a look at. And then it will be rolled out to the count.
Yes, what the plan is to do is take this PowerPoint and do a webinar for all your employees. And then, of course, for the ones that can attend, we can record that webinar and then we can forward it off to Jack. And then say if you do have like a new hire coming in or something, then you guys will have access to that webinar. So that's just our idea. If you guys can change it or want to roll it out a different way, I mean, that's totally up to you guys, but that's kind of what our plan was. So, but
And I would note that the safety, Jackie and Billy and a couple other staff members participated along with myself, Brody, and Montana State Fund folks on putting this together. We thought, again, it's your program, it's not ours, it's yours. And so we want to make sure that we've got buy-in from you folks, but we kind of wanted to try tie some goals to the operation, if you will. And we talked quite a bit of discussion on implementing a near miss reporting system. And then, of course, implementing the safety training for county employees is the goals that we should try and implement for the upcoming year. And It's a fluid process. It's not something that is set in stone. I mean, it's meant to be able to be adjusted as we move forward, particularly if we come across any evolving issues that we need to address right away too, so.
Well, and I think going over the Montana Safety Culture Act might really help get why you guys have to do. all
The
this
why.
across to your
Exactly.
employees, because a lot of them probably don't know about a lot of these requirements, so. So it's just a rough draft, so anything that needs to be tweaked or you wanna change, let us know. I mean, and if you want us to roll it out a different format, you know, we can do that too. It's all up to how you guys would wanna do this with your staff.
So we can make this available for everybody. So they can look at it and if they have any questions.
Sure, if you wanna do it like your department heads. Yeah, you can do that, and then once you guys get the approval, then we could talk about rolling out the training to the normal employee.
I think this group, though, the commissioners are the ones that are gonna
Yeah,
provide the.
yeah, you guys are
Make
gonna
the
be the
decision.
decision, you guys are gonna be the ones that would wanna do the edits.
So, what's the? What's the thought of the group in terms of rolling this out? When do we wanna? When do we, let's tie, I think it'd be wise to tie a time frame to review this. And say, okay, this is what we're gonna run with. What would be an appropriate time frame to do that?
Well, we've talked about it for a while. I think I just need to move ahead, look it over, put it on the agenda again and adopt it, move on.
One thing I would recommend is maybe if you wanna do it after the new year, just because with the holidays, things are kind of crazy, unless you wanna. Cause we already are pretty much in October, November, December, get crazy with Thanksgiving and Christmas. You know, you probably get employees. that-
What's the best time for, I mean, the county?
Well, our next safety meeting is December 12th.
Okay, so do you wanna have the edits done by December 12th and then maybe shoot for sometime after the new year for the actual training?
Does that work for you guys, or is that too long? Are we kicking the can down the road too far?
Well, it sounds like with all the holidays, you kind of want to move it down the road, but I mean, we've talked about it for quite a while. I think we need to move on it. Otherwise, we just keep.
So should we plan on,
Do you want to do the edits by December?
have
12th?
the edits done by the next safety meeting? If there's, have everybody that review this, that wants to provide input, provide it. And then the commissioners can decide, and then on December, we'll, I guess, I don't know, officially accept this as the working document, and then we'll roll the training out.
I think so, otherwise we just keep.
Okay.
So we could say training sometime in January. Okay, sounds good.
Is that okay with you?
And you guys do have the most up to date PowerPoint, so if you want to send that to the, it just maybe be easier because it's hard to read. off.
This is hard to
Yeah.
read, so if you.
I will send it out to
Awesome.
department head.
Thanks for all your help. I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
thank you.
When Mark is not with us today, Brody just had mentioned, but Mark has had a hand in putting.
Well, he's gonna be
together as
doing this
well.
with me, so.
Yeah, and he'll be participating in this as well, so.
so, Thanks, that's all I have.
Okay. Karen, do you have any updates or additional?
Everything's just. Everything's running great. And I'm for Janine too, because she's on a trip and she said everything was fine. She's doing good with the new hire. He's really a go-getter, so. And that's all she said to say.
Val was gonna jump on, but
She was on and then she was off.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I see it come on and it went off. Can't go with my board.
Oh, no, you didn't.
No.
Can't go with it.
Oh, I just want to make.
no, here. Okay. Paul, do you have any updates? Any on solid waste? So we talked about the near miss program and it's just doing a paper and people that see a near miss and have it documented, figure out how to not have it a miss or into an accident. So Becky brought up the other day, she had to go up to the dump and there was a possible near miss that happened up at the dump. And we were discussing like forms of communications with, like at the Drummond dump, there's no cell service. Correct?
Their cell service. It's spotty, but their service.
But what is, like, what would happen if there's something happened to one of them up there? Is there radio communications or how do they get a hold of you?
Or they got a landline.
Okay, but what if they can't get to the phone?
Well, I don't,
They used to have radio when I did it.
I mean, a handheld radio is gonna get you nowhere there.
Okay. But is there something in their process of? Like, do you check on them or somebody? That was just the conversation.
I don't know, I talk to them all the time, or, I mean, there's people around all the time at the top, so. I mean, if they were to carry a radio, they just don't reach anywhere.
Okay.
I guess if you wanted to have a radio, the best frequency that they could have would be the sheriff. You know, maybe hit one of them, but they just don't go very far, you know.
Well, the worst thing about that again, though, we get on his and we were interfering
Exactly.
with stuff. We had that set up before. And we were actually blocking him out. When he was trying to talk to his deputies, ours was cutting him off.
Okay.
So we got off and that's when we bought our own tent.
Yeah, we were screwing all the dispatch up.
Yeah.
I don't know how that. Worked.
So you don't think there's a need to have any kind of communications up there? Besides the landline?
You know, I mean, that's, I was always been, I don't know what else you would do. Like I say, there's a little cell service that's spotty, but. I think his wife actually has a cell phone anyway.
And I know the radios, when I was doing it, Rich fell in the dumpster and he had the radio on him. And he couldn't get out of the dumpster, but the radio wasn't working there. And somebody happened to notice that he wasn't home like at 7 o'clock and somebody went up there and he was still in the dumpster with the radio. Yeah. He was just kicked back and just waiting for help. He wasn't worried about
Looking for
Depending on
the
the time of year.
Yeah, that could be a.
Depending on the time of year, that could be pretty
Kind of low,
treacherous.
that would be different, but.
This might help out too, now, is if they're gonna do time card, electronic time cards, so they know what to, you know. you know, what to do on that. I don't know if that means anything, you know, they. I don't know if there's an alert comes up after the, I don't know how they're working.
No, it's usually like at the end of the pay period, you go in and check your misses.
What are other, I mean, curious, what do other rural counties do for communications for outlying areas in that situation, you know?
I don't have any idea.
Well, they're kind of out in the open, you know, like Deerlaws, they're out where we're up in that canyon.
Right.
That, you know,
It's
it's
just-
out here, it'd be different, you can get cell, but down there, you're in a. Oh,
Yeah. I
I don't know
know,
if you can put a booster down there, if that helps or not.
I know Avon, they have issues with cell phone service.
You could do, get Wi-Fi down there and then have Wi-Fi calling. On your cell phone.
And they don't have that Wi-Fi in there.
There's no Wi-Fi in any of the shops here. It needs to have it, but you just haven't did it yet.
That might be the only way you can do it, with Wi-Fi, and at least you can get out.
And I don't even know how, I'm not even gonna say how far that would reach, you know, like from the office to the dumpster, I don't know if that reaches that far or not.
There'll be something to look into at least.
Yeah.
Just,
Yeah.
because I would hate to have something happen and that would be the day somebody doesn't go to the dump like for 2 hours.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I get
Yeah.
exactly, get what you mean.
Yeah.
I don't know what a good alternate would be.
Well, it's worth looking into. So, so when we had that August 16th meeting, we kind of talked about the implementing some sort of a miss or hazard identification. Reporting policy. And then we talked about, you know, somebody reports. Like the cord isn't underneath the. You know, protector, or things like that, and some sort of, you know, a bag of candy or a coffee certificate or something for reporting near misses. Because that's what's gonna cause a problem if we can stop it before it begins. So,
Just kind of an incentive, like
Yeah.
a small incentive.
but the commissioners have to adopt that policy if that's what we wanna do, and that we could discuss at the December 12th meeting also. Kind of put something into place if you guys would like. Implement a program and then present it.
I did talk, just as an aside, I did talk with a road. Department head at another rural county, not Powell County, but another rural county, last week or the week before last, and. They do something similar, they have like an incentive program, a near miss incentive program, and it's not meant to be. Big brother looking over, it's meant to try and help the culture, it's meant to try and help, you know, if you see something before it happens and say, you know, this is a near miss here. What could we do, you know, that could have resulted in a bad accident. And it's meant to try and catch it ahead of time, and I think it's really a pretty good tack.
Right, yeah, like, I don't feel it's like somebody going around, as Brody said, like, oh, you didn't do this right, you didn't do that right, that's not what the point is, the point is to keep everybody. Safe, so. Every department has the flow charts on the reporting of the accidents. Or, you know, on the workman's comp and how those steps take place. And we were talking about long-term goals for the county, 3 years and 5 years. You know, we have a significant amount of money that goes out to our workman's comp. It would be great to see if we could lower those numbers and reduce that workman's comp. That would be, to me, a 3-year goal. Okay. You guys. That would be a goal too.
Yeah.
So, this,
I think the one thing about near misses is people probably see things all the time and just go, whoa, that was an accident waiting to happen, and just fix it. Without maybe saying anything to anybody and not looking for a reward. So I don't know how that would work.
Yeah, and I just, I guess a comment would be, good that they're fixing it, right? But it's also an opportunity for other people to learn from that, and I think that's really what we're trying to get at here is. So and so saw this near miss in this department over here. And reported it, and they rectified it as soon as they could, immediately, hopefully. But that same incident could happen in another department or down the road, or, you know, in another area. And so it's meant to trigger that thought process, well, it happened over here, and I realize county operations are extremely diverse. I mean, you've got office exposures, you got law enforcement exposure, you got heavy equipment exposures. There's a lot of diversity, but there is some crossover as well, and I think it's meant to try and help that. But also create that culture of awareness and that safety culture, and I think that's a big step forward.
Okay, so in an instance like this, how would we go about implementing it? Would a letter go out to all employees saying, hey, this is something that we want you to do, you see something that's going to happen, hey, rectify it and turn it into your supervisor saying, hey, here's a near miss or.
So
what?
Brody had sent a little sheet on kind of how to do the reporting. And
You would have to have a written policy on it, and then, of course, you'd have to share that with your employees, and then if they have a near miss, they have a near miss card. That they would actually fill out, and then they would give that to their supervisor. Or if you wanna keep it confidential, you can have little boxes, like in break rooms or something like that. So it's just depends on how you guys wanna approach it. You know,
But I think it's gonna be, commissioners driving it down to department heads, the department heads driving it down to the employees. And then, the employees are the ones that are gonna be. They're in the trenches, right, day to day, so they're the ones that would find it or see it. And report it. Again, it's not meant to be a punitive thing, it's meant to help, create that awareness. So that's really, but I think you're right, Billy, it would have to be a policy that you guys implement. But a lot of counties are doing it, a lot of my insureds are doing it. And again, it's meant to try and create that awareness and build that culture.
Do you think you get more out of it if you had a box where it's confidential, so they?
yeah,
Then,
Sometimes it'll-
because I know someone probably, oh, I'm not saying nothing.
Yeah,
but
because,
something they seen and.
yeah, you can make a confidential then.
Small counties.
It's gonna be hard, but
It's gonna be hard to.
with you guys, being so small.
How would they get their reward?
That's just it, how would they, yeah, that's another thing is if you're gonna give them a. I don't know what the reward would be, a coffee cart or, something like that, I don't know what the reward would be, but how would they, Paul, you bring up a good point.
Well, you'd have to, when you get the coffee card, you'll just have to say, each department has to give so many near misses per quarter or something like that, 3 near misses and you get a coffee card or something.
But I don't know if you want to quantify, I don't know, there's a yin and the yang of it, right, you don't wanna. I don't know that you wanna quantify, you have to have 3 near misses, because then it's like. People are gonna be around, I think it's meant. My thoughts are. Oh, this could have been a bad situation, we fix it, we learn from it, we share it with other people. So that they don't have the same thing happen in their neck of the woods. That's really, what I think is the value of it.
Well, I've been on the other flip side of it, you go into all the trouble to issue this program, and then nobody fills out the near miss card.
Yeah.
So if you don't have anything coming in, you have nothing to analyze either. So, and everybody has near misses, it happens in every company a bit, or organization, but that's where the quota thing comes into play. You don't want to do that, but sometimes you don't get them coming in, so. It's, if you guys decide to go that route, these are questions and comments we can help you guys out with, and help you develop that policy, but. I've just dealt with it on both sides.
Sure.
And a lot of people like that anonymity of a confidential box, so just. We can talk about it and give Jeff the paperwork, maybe share that with commissioners, kind of what I'm saying.
So did you just send a program?
Yes,
Draft
Jeff
program.
has all that.
Okay.
You do have it, right?
I do.
Okay, awesome. I just want to make sure.
And I don't
I guess I would ask this body, what are your thoughts about implementing something like that? Does it make sense? What are your feelings?
Well, it didn't make sense, if you see something in that, it's making them pay a little more attention. Not like they gotta fill out a whole big paper and nothing, if they wanna write something down, we can bring the thing.
Yeah, it's not meant, they don't need to write your book, it's just a
I
quick.
don't think it's a bad thing.
And then if you talk
What do you
about it-
guys think?
Give it a try.
And I think if you talk about it,
Well, then
Go
one
ahead.
thing I would recommend is that, you could just put after a safety committee meeting, if it was a big serious incident that could occur, just put a lessons learned flyer or something like that. You just type something up really quick and then just send it out to everybody. So they're aware of what happened and what your procedure is, what you discussed on how to correct it.
And also, it could be like a new employee will see something that the rest of us have done for years. And they're gonna go, hey, is this right? And then draws attention to it. Or you have that new employee who's just getting used to their ways and of the ways of any department. And they may do something that a veteran employee will go, hey, we can't do it like that. So it's kind of the mesh of new employees coming in each having each other's backs for just being safe.
I use the analogy, that's a good point. I use the analogy, you got part of your grain bed at home hanging off and it's not quite attached and you look up and I gotta fix that. And then you buy the next day and you go, I gotta fix that. And the next day I gotta fix that. And pretty quick, it's just in your mind, it's like, one day I'll get to it. And some guy walks by and says, you probably should fix that. You know what I mean? You see it's only, I think we're human beings and I've done it, but in my own house. You walk by something, "Oh, I need to get to that, I need to get to that, I need to get to that, pretty quick, it's like you never get to it. And to your point, a new set of eyes. You can learn from it.
Yeah.
So,
So is there any further discussions on any safety topics?
that worked pretty good, nice.
All right. And being said, I will ask for a motion to close this meeting.
I make a motion to close this meeting.
I'll second.
None opposed? All in favor?
Alright. Next meeting's the 12th at 9.
At 9.
You'll be able to.
See that goes in the state. And we are not.
Yeah, yeah. Apparently, I put 8:30. I don't know.
It's,
I just say I was going on vacation.
we had a busy fall,
Yeah.
summer fall.
It's been a long.
Thank you, everybody.
Well, thank you.
Thank you guys.
Everything that I
On the
said I will.
Cool.
I'll move to accept the minute.
Okay.
Brian.
What's your right over?
Thank you all. Thank you. First one is Justice Court will be closed Monday, September 25th and Wednesday, the 27th. For in-person court business. Judge Brackey. Next one's from Joe D. Amico. Security service.
I think that's just in response. You guys are just CC'd on it to the planning letter that was sent to him from Linda.
Oh.
I just talked to Paul
You have to wait till 9:35.
about 9:35,
Yeah.
okay.
Sorry.
Is it all right if I sit here?
Yeah, oh yeah. Next one from Linda. And it's from
Linda who?
the bulk.
Oh, that goes with the email. I'm sorry. I should have stapled them. I scanned them and then I didn't staple it after I scanned them.
The next one's a newsletter from Department of Transportation. That's it, correspondence. Any public comment on correspondence? Alrighty, well, a couple minutes ahead or so, but we'll go ahead into public comment. Come on up. State your name and what you're here for.
My name is Dan Anderson. I noticed along the Boulder Creek Road, there's quite a few dead fir trees mostly. I asked Paul about cutting them for firewood. He told me I need to ask you folks about that or talk to you folks about that. I have cut firewood along county roads before. Back in Wisconsin, I shut down a state road for half a day to cut some timber across the road, but and I do have signs. But need all out, people watching for traffic.
Yeah,
No big
To
deal,
me,
just
it's-
I'm up and down that canyon every day, or not every day, but so often that. And I got a lot of people that want firewood, so I thought, maybe I could do you a favor so they don't fall down on the road. Then you can,
up, Maxville. That's the bar.
Fir trees?
Prince.
I take lodgepole too, no, I just want to get firewood or whatever.
Dead wood
Yeah, dead standing wood along the side of the road in our right of way.
and right away.
Yeah. I don't have a problem with it, as long as they don't plug the road and leave it
Right,
at
it's not a problem, and I'll talk to any of the landowners that are close, let them know what I'm
And
doing.
it's up to you guys too, but as long as there ain't a big mess left.
Well, yeah,
Yeah, if you were gonna clean it up naturally. I mean, it's for your profit naturally.
right, well, I'll clean it up, that's just part of the deal, sure.
Like maybe somebody should look at it and see, because some of the trees might encroach on other people's property. There could be conflict.
That's a good idea, yeah. But that could happen,
So. I'll look at it and kind of tell them where you can cut and cut. That what you mean?
Then we'd have to make sure, I don't know, if we need something in writing or whatever, that we have safety measures.
So the right of way is what? 60 feet,
30 from them, yeah.
so from the center of the road, it's 30 on each side.
This might end up being coming to, you'd have to have proof of insurance or
I
something.
do have, that's no problem, I
In case
do
you get a
have,
power line or something, we don't.
I have commercial, because of my plowing, I do have commercial liability insurance, so.
Let us. When Paul comes in, we can talk to him about it there, and then maybe better ask Blaine too about the,
Yeah.
to make sure that, I don't have any problem cleaning it up, it saves us a bunch of stuff, but. We better make sure it's all like, yeah.
Sure, all legal and yeah.
Okay,
you
yeah.
bet, Sure. Okay. One other question on the Black Pine Mine Road, it's kind of a question yet as to whether or not Russ Terra is gonna need that road. I did talk to Kirby, the lawyer, he's not concerned at all. Now, I did plow that last year, I got a paper from you folks saying I could plow it, it worked out pretty decent. So I just was wondering if that was something we could do again this year or not, I guess don't really make much difference to me, but I told Russ I had to come to a meeting, so I bring it up.
Come up a little closer to landscape,
Okay.
here, I'm sorry.
Say that again.
Oh, the Black Pine Road, it's county road and we plow it, but there's only one reason I guess it needs to be plowed, that's because of the pairs up there, they have the girl that put the school down. So last year I plowed it because that's pretty much way on the bottom of fall plow list, and I can understand why. Russ did pay me some for plowing it, not really enough, especially after I got done paying the fines for the Forest Service for plowing their road I wasn't supposed to plow. But I did anyway. Well, I'm not gonna do that this year.
That's good.
I think you're right. It is good, Scott. I'm learning. I'm thick skull, but I'm learning. So I just was wondering right now I don't know with Russ, if he will know, I believe tomorrow. He's got something going on in court. He said, I don't know a whole lot. He told me he's got two state people, pretty high up state people that are trying to help him get permission or permit or whatever to use this Forest Service road. The road was built as a fire road, and it's a way shorter for them to go out that way, way better road. There is the actual access, that legal access that he has is, it winds all over. The road needs a lot of work. I guess you don't need to know about that, but. So yeah, I was just wondering if, if it comes to it, if I can get a permit to plow or help you plow it up.
Yeah, I'd find out for sure what's going on there, cause we don't wanna get, you don't wanna get.
No, that's why,
behind
You know, we didn't have no problems last year, so,
Yeah, we could talk to Paul, and I don't have a problem.
I think it's.
So that's
great.
the upper part,
Right.
not the whole.
Well, yeah, clear from the bottom all the way up. I plowed that last year. I kept the road.
I thought Paul was supposed to plow that up to
He is, but I mean, he only plows it when he has time, I talked to the guy that plows it and asked him why I wasn't plowing it. we kinda got in a little bit of argument. I thought he was gonna climb out of his truck and. But that's what I didn't.
Well, they're supposed to plow up
What
to,
was that?
they're supposed to plow the school bus routes, so.
Right, that's what I was told.
And we gotta enforce that. Plow to the school bus. So that girl can get out.
I thought that's what we agreed on last, remember, I was arguing with you guys over it, not doing, I thought it was being done. I seriously, I
I
think
thought it
we
was
all
done.
thought so
Yeah.
too, didn't we?
Yeah,
Well,
I mean, I was.
there was times I know when, you know, it wasn't getting plowed and he couldn't get out, you know. So, but, and I understand why, because it's not, you know, Paul said it's not really a priority road.
Yeah, it is a priority road.
Okay, it is.
These guys voted on it to have it plowed, remember, I was fighting against it, and we voted, you guys voted to do it. And it was supposed to be done, right?
So then I might as well not even worry about it, right? That would be
Well,
great,
fine.
because that was a bugger.
We'll find out here pretty quick, here in just a few minutes, I think it's better be brought up, because it was voted on,
Yeah.
it's on the minutes, and we can do it.
Well,
Sorry, I think I forgot my
I
laptop.
appreciate your time.
I might want that.
yeah,
Yeah, you guys, I'm sorry.
It's all right, my fault.
yeah, my road.
Yeah.
Get tough,
You guys voted on, you guys voted on.
that's a priority, it's a school bus route
Yeah.
priority.
Remember you come in and it was, yeah, I was against it, remember, because it just,
So road maintenance agreements go on the agenda, right? So do you want that road maintenance on the agreement on the agenda next week, or do you
Yeah.
want it? Okay,
we'll bring it up and talk about it right here when Paul comes back in, because we can talk about it.
okay,
'Cause that's part of the road say, we can find out, but
and I'll get
You
the
know,
agreement
that's
ready
coming.
for next week.
saying it's not, I don't,
Okay.
I guess we'll find out here quick. Any other public comments?
So what question on him cutting the wood in the right of way? He'd have to make sure that he was in the right of way and not on other people's property.
Yeah, and that could get to a, I don't know, sometimes it's good, I know there's a lot of dead ones up there, and then if he falls when it hits one of their trees, then guess what, it's coming back on us. I don't-
Yeah, we gotta talk to Blaine.
Cause then how high is the stump's gonna be and stuff, you know, it could end up being, I don't have a problem in some of them areas, cause it's pretty easy to get to, but. A lot of that's pretty narrow in that canyon, and then you plug that road, and what if an ambulance had to get up there or something, you know, I mean, I don't know. One of them hit and miss deals that. You gotta just. There's enough other places to get fire, but I think you better stay with that.
No, probably.
Morning,
Morning.
Good morning.
how was your safety meeting?
Good.
Do you have the resolution? I never got the resolution.
Oh, sorry about that.
No, you're fine.
Yeah, I'll bring it down.
You're fine. I just thought I would let you know sooner
Yeah.
than later.
Friday,
Thursday and Friday. I got them on you.
Thursday I was in town.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Friday when it's across.
Elena will be yelling.
Thursday and Friday morning, I tried to tell about, the deal was that Paul was trying to figure out, I was trying to get hold of you to see if we wanted to sell the Forest Service 6,700 yards of gravel. Before we were gonna give it to him until you went and looked at it, and I think we all agreed we'd sell it to him. You don't wanna sell it to him.
Mhm.
You guys are gonna think we're the gang that can't shoot
Oh,
straight.
your phone?
So that's
It's
why,
under the chair. I can see it.
Brody
And
loses
here's
his,
a chair.
Brody loses his,
Laptop?
computer.
Mhm.
so it was agreed to sell to him because I saw him home
See you guys.
yesterday.
Do what now, Chuck?
I think I saw or search truck falling down there yesterday.
Probably, cause we tried and I tried to get a hold of you. I thought we can make You know, 7 times 16 is what? It's not free. If they've got to pay us.
Well, it was a 10,000 basically.
Yeah, and they pay us that right as soon as they're done with it, they pay us with a credit card. That's what I was trying to get a hold of you, Thursday and Friday. I tried hard. You can ask Blanche, cause her and I was an asshole to Blanche that morning. That's my mom, but
Well, I wouldn't have voted for it. They could go get.
Well, we kinda voted for it since we
Yeah.
couldn't.
Yeah, so like I saw, you know, a four sewer truck.
I, honest to God, you can ask her, cause her and I got in an argument, and I really feel bad, cause I treated her like crap. I did.
What?
I apologize.
Yeah.
For Thursday, the way I was upset over some other stuff, people calling me bitches. But. I mean, it's better to get it from
That
where
should have been in the meeting.
Too late now.
Yeah, I know.
they were,
That
wanted
should
to
have
do
been.
it Friday, that's why we held off as long as we could. I mean, I tried and tried. I left messages on your home phone and your cell. You can ask Billy too, didn't I, Billy?
No, myself.
Yep, I did, cause I knew you were, I wouldn't read, you know. Anyway, we'll wait till 9:45 and talk about it more. And he said he tried to call you too, Paul said. I said he did. Honest God, Chuck, I did.
Well, every time Paul calls, it's on there.
I got them all here, I can show you
You can show me where he called myself.
both.
I mean, they could have talked to us about that last Tuesday. I mean, I don't like it. I don't like it at all. You know, it's my area.
If mine only goes back to Thursday at right here. If I can figure out how to go back further, you can see that.
You should be able to go all the way back.
Well, that's I'm not station.
No, but he did call and say he tried calling you. And then I said, leave him messages. Because he told me, he said, well, we agreed to selling it, and I said, I do not remember. Us agreeing to selling it.
Last time I tried it was 6:48 PM, September 21st. If I could figure out how to go back, I mean, I called you. I bet you I called you 10 times. Serious.
So when you called his home phone
Yep, and so.
and left messages.
Yeah.
We're getting other messages.
I-
No, we never agreed to sell
Hmm?
it. We never agreed to sell it, so when the,
Well, too late now, because when we talked and he couldn't get a hold of you, and then we talked about it, and so we agreed, okay.
yeah, so I go by there yesterday. And I see this white truck with the Forest Services insignia. Going that way with.
With what?
Going out the road with a load, I go, what the hell is going on?
Did you call Paul or did you stop
Yeah,
there?
that's what- being here today.
So did you ever get a hold of Paul? You have a hold of Paul too.
Yeah. We agreed on, but I said I had not got
And then
with
there-
Chuck, and I suppose, I said, the exact words I said, I don't think Chuck's for it. That's what I told him.
And then they were driving like hell too. You can ask Heidi about that. She goes, wow.
Hello.
I don't know why you're getting all those time cards when it's gonna be electronic in about months.
Scratch paper?
All right, well, we'll go ahead, we're like 2 minutes early. It's on the weekly report with Road and Bridge, Superintendent Paul, contract hauling, and we'll go into solid waste. Go ahead, Paul.
Well, we are just, right now, everybody's out at Moose Lake working. And That's what we're doing, is hauling spread and gravel. And. I gotta go get some more Durapatch oil. But they're going to DP2, which is more pliable for the colder weather. But they won't have any till. Might be this week, could be next week, you know. They're changing over. And that's just kind of what's going on, we're just doing that. Everybody's out there, that's just where we're putting the gravel right now, is on Meadow Fork. And
Billy had something, can you, Columbus, we're talking about, is that what they're saying?
I think so. Somebody, and it was kind of disjointed. I got a message from Linda yesterday. Somebody had called into Linda. They didn't have great cell phone service and they got disconnected. She didn't get the lady's name. But there was some complaint about some interaction with the public and a road department member yesterday up on Moose Lake about the gravel. I don't know the details. Supposedly the lady was gonna call and never did.
I talked to her,
Okay,
and she thought that every load should be coned, you know, when you're wind rolling down the road well. And they came over the hill and there was gravel on the road and so she said that she almost wrecked, and I said, well, maybe you should slow down. And she said, well, we're only going 20. Well, I don't believe you almost wrecked at 20. And anyway, then she got all hostile, basically screaming at Johnny about how much money they got and how much land they have up there and blah blah blah. And she flipped him off when she drove by, and but she wants to blame that all on him, and that's not true. You know, because he wasn't gonna hurry up and get right there that second and get that moved off the road. I mean,
We gotta work it.
yeah,
I mean,
that's what that was
Oh,
about.
it was wind road on the side of the road.
Yeah,
Yeah, I was out
Yeah.
and. What's the problem with that?
they just come over the hill and sun in their eyes and didn't see it, you know,
Off on the side of the road?
yeah,
I mean, it was off on the side of the road. It was absolutely no problem.
right.
I saw.
Jake had dumped one kind of alongside the stuff off to the side. And anyway, they just hit that. Then she said that they got a flat tire on their horse trailer and that was happening as soon as they hit East Fork Highway. I just let her ran. But the fact of the matter is, they had a flat tire on their horse trailer, clear down at White's Ranch, because me and Brad went by him when I went to get a water truck. But that's what that was about.
Well,
That was a long story for nothing, but
that happens a lot if you have worn out tires and your blade, when you pick up a grader blade or whatever. You know, what I mean? It's
it's crap,
It's not
crap,
a-
you're gonna get us.
So I was out there and one couple things I noticed, besides that, when I found out that we're selling. Railroad Forest Service. I wouldn't vote for that at all. But anyway,
Don't get upset, Chuck. We tried, he tried, didn't we? Thursday,
yeah,
and I'm serious. It wasn't like we snuck something by there. It's a by, I mean, you can. I don't know, I showed you the one that I called you in. I know you were against it.
another thing I noticed was, the fines, I don't know if there are enough fines in that. It looks like it's kind of loose.
well, we haven't rolled it or anything yet either. You know, once now that we got everybody out there, get it watered and packed down and then magged as well. And I guess we'll see how she holds up. I'm surprised how good it held up over the weekend with that high-speed traffic and not being rolled at all.
Right.
You know,
And then, talk about high-speed traffic, I come down, what do they call it? They used to call it Happy Creek. The tie-through road. And I start coming from down further down to Happy Creek, come a mile away and flew by us a white truck. I mean, they were really flying.
Yeah, that's just what they do. We had 2 blades out there working. And this,
So is that Forest Service truck, is that,
oh, Forester shop.
yeah,
Oh, no.
it's coming from way
No,
down.
I mean, a regular guy. Oh, I don't know about that.
Yeah, he's talking.
I mean, it was on that washboard piece. You know, you don't wanna go very fast on that washboard.
No.
I mean, anyway, and they went by me like. I don't know how to say it.
Yeah, we had a guy come around the corner. Just missed the first blade and then had to jump over the berm and go half in the ditch going around the second blade. They just won't slow down and it's like you're a target up there. You know,
What, regular vehicles or what?
regular vehicles, yeah.
He's back on the regular one, he's on Forest Service dump truck. So we need to call.
So you're talking about a Forest Service dump truck.
Well, I was white, and then when I got up by the pit, I saw a white one with the Forest Service insignia on it. And I go, it was real quick now. Forest Service truck? You know, I'm like, what the hell is going on here?
Yeah, they're the only dump truck out there, so.
We need to call him. Tell him to slow down.
Probably.
Wouldn't hurt if they're driving that fast.
Get hold of Sarah. I guess he's still in charge. They could see. Cameron back. I mean,
I can find out. I'll let her know.
So they've
Sorry,
got
not-
their yardage in, are they done? Are they done to get all their,
Not even anywhere close. So, I mean, if you guys wanna not sell it, you know, stop. That's up to you guys.
we can't just say you'll sell it to them and then stop.
Yeah, it's. Yeah, they all that thing. I don't even know, 100 yards yesterday, maybe.
Well, it's done, I mean, but they should have mentioned something to us last Tuesday and, they were going, I. Sounds like going around me. Anyway, another thing,
I didn't go around your truck, honest to God, I'll get you the records off the phone.
You
and
don't,
that.
you don't have to defend
But
yourself.
I'm just saying, when we talked about Thursday, and I called and called and called, cause I knew you'd be against it, I did.
Well, no, what you implied to me is that. You had talked about it before and Chuck was in agreement, and that's what you told me. And that you were trying to get hold of Chuck. And that Chuck did not want to give it away, but he was willing to sell it, and so I said, okay, that's what you told me. So I said, okay, if you're gonna sell it, as long as there's plenty of gravel, then it's a done deal. We can't just keep harping about it, it's a done deal. It's a done deal.
Sure, it's a done deal.
Yeah.
I mean, we are getting what we have to pay. From somebody else. You know,
So
Anyway,
another thing, you're still patching, I just wanted to mention to you, you're probably aware of it, with the East Fork, there's, where Mungus came in.
Yeah.
Tore it up a little bit there, and then there's 2 little spots just past, Altus. I don't know if you know.
yeah, we'll get them, we gotta do the, we took the cattle guard out as well. And like I say, that won't be, it'll be next week when we get it available.
And
And
then,
then we gotta also get a bunch of delineators, we gotta put a pile of them in a lot of different places.
and then the grass clip.
Right. I actually mowed the airport this morning. Got that done. But
So where else do you have to mow?
everywhere. Every road we have needs mowed. We just gotta get started. I wanna hold off until next Monday and then just start, let them go.
and get this other stuff done first.
Yeah,
Were you gonna talk to him about it? Using contract trucks out there? Remember last week you said you didn't want to? And I mentioned it to him. So, yes.
what are we doing?
So we're using ours,
Got one of ours out there. And 2 other trucks.
So. Explain that to me.
Contract hauling. Chuck was saying last week that he did.
Right, you were saying for short hauls, we shouldn't contract trucks to haul. You were saying,
Yeah, that's my opinion, I mean.
yeah,
we-
I agree.
We could be
I just
using ours.
talked about it, I just brought it up, because I didn't want to get it.
We'll never get anything done if we don't have some contractors.
Well, we got 2 belly dumps, right, so we're using one.
We're using one. The other one. I mean, we could use it out there, put a guy in it. And take them off the roller or whatever, but. I mean, you still gotta, that's the only place we could use it at. But. I mean, we can. We can use it, pull it out the water truck, and then we don't have, we're trying to run 2 water trucks as well. Because you know how dry it is. Yeah, it's just. You fight yourself on it, you know. But.
Okay, as long as we're using one.
I just
Yeah, we've
brought-
been using them all the time.
What?
Other than that, that's about all I got.
They're patching good. They're doing a damn good job, they are patching good. Got a lot of them holes down there, yeah, they're nice.
Gotta try and find,
Everybody's speeding up, like you said, holy cow, you go where goes, now you can't.
yeah,
Yes.
So where are you patching at right now?
what's that?
Where are you patching right now?
We're not.
Oh.
They're out at Moose Lake running equipment.
Oh.
Everybody's out there. But,
So how far you planning on going then?
oh, I'd like to get out there at least, to cattle guard at Eva's,
Yeah, where?
oh, like Eva's,
Oh, okay. Well, you're almost,
and we're ways away yet, but.
Johnny had that part pretty much later.
Yeah. Yeah, they're getting everything played and then we're laying stuff down. I mean, obviously, the whole road, we could put it on the whole road, but. We need to switch and go to Rock Creek and Willow Creek. Someplace we get some on all of them. Is my plan.
Okay, anything on solid waste? Or do you, yeah, jump ahead?
No,
When are they supposed to start drilling for the well?
hopefully next week.
Okay. A couple minutes yet, anything else, Ryan?
I'm gonna try and find a pneumatic. Post mounter for putting them delineators in. And. They're expensive, but we have so many to put in. You just try and drive them in by hand, it's, you know, you're putting in 200-300, that's just insane.
Remember what happened last time we had to look at doing the thing slipped off the poles.
Yeah, yeah. The problem is that to get the whole setup is really expensive, but I think just a pounder is around $5,000. And. They take 70 CFM of air. But I'm thinking if we can get one of them and then rent an air compressor from one of the rental places and just drag the back up presses. You know, until we're done with it, and then. Maybe next budget, buy an air compressor. But. We gotta do something because it's just, there's just too many of them. And you're standing off that bank and. You know,
Well, the ground's hard now.
yeah. I mean, it's not bad, you put 1 or 2 in, but when you're putting in 200-300 of them. You know, like building fence by hand, those days are over with.
Next thing, guy hurt himself or something, will be out of the guy or something.
There's no, doing,
Yeah.
having your present.
Not one that big. We got air compressor, but I mean, that's a lot of volume. To make that work. No, we have air compressors.
Right, so is that, go ahead and let him look into getting one of them then, or? I need to know, maybe.
Yeah, I know they're gonna be $5,000. But I also know that. You just, yeah,
So to get it, you need another compressor then. You're saying.
well, I just figured for this season, just go rent one of mom's rental or
That's a
something,
compressor, but then
yeah. That's my thought, anyway.
Otherwise, you're not gonna get your delineators in on East Fork.
there's people are gonna be.
So on the speed that you're saying they're driving too fast. Can we call them and tell them to slow down if they can't? Is it county road?
Oh, yeah.
I think call them right away. Soon as we leave, give a
They're
break,
driving too
I'll
fast.
call Sarah and tell them to slow it down.
No, I didn't see, it was a white truck and it came from the Copper Creek area. And that's
Well,
all.
if it was a white dump truck, it was that.
Is ours?
No, Forest Service.
We have a white dump.
They're not-
Ours are slow and courteous.
Good
Okay,
to
well, we're
know.
gonna,
Yeah,
I guess, let's go ahead and we're gonna move on. You don't have nothing else?
no,
So who's gonna
You
call?
can't leave yet.
What's that, Chuck?
but why?
You're gonna stop down to Forest Service and
Solid
call
waste.
them or?
I'm going on, but I was going to the campground, talk to Josh, he's the boss of them. Down, but. They gotta wipe her down. Right? Utility workers. Oh, our guys are down there, I mean, there's people working on every corner, for Christ's sake.
Maybe you should call Scott and have him come out there and look a little bit. Just to know, maybe just seeing them like slowing down a little bit, I doubt it, but. Getting them work zones or
Yeah,
something.
That's a
Before
good
somebody
idea.
gets ran over or wrecked, so maybe we better tell Scott to call Scott, if he can come out, or we can call Scott and have him go out.
Yeah, if you guys want to.
We call a deputy and have him go out there where somebody gets hit. Get them work
Good idea.
zones, it's scary, dude.
I'll go and talk to the. Well, okay.
Alrighty, well, we'll move on to this, solid waste district policy, discussion decision.
I got the route list, I printed it out and got it to you right away. Then Scott wanted to get it in Excel, in which I did get it in Excel. But I couldn't email it for whatever reason, whatever, my email won't let me do it that much.
What, no, we actually got it. No, we got it.
You did get it?
Yeah, I don't know if
Oh, it said it didn't go.
Well, it went and Vicky got it.
Okay.
And Evan,
You're working-
at it and
Okay. All right, so basically, at that time, we're about 750 customers. Problem is, we don't know a lot of the customers, how many units, so I need to get with Scott, Vicky. And determine how many units each one of these have. Also, you gotta ferret out, cause sometimes I got customers that have a dumpster. And there might be 3 families sharing that dumpster, but I only know who the one is that I send the bill to. So there's some of them that I have to. Find out, who's all using this dumpster, because those all would be in that account.
Yeah, the wild card would be businesses would give you added units, so that's gotta be, I gotta know.
Right.
What businesses
Yeah,
do there.
Like Rock and Case, 30 units or something like that, and I need to also get with Vicky and Scott. Audit my customer list, try to figure out what you guys are charging now versus what they're producing. I also wanna try to look at the weights, I can't really weigh it, but I know when a dumpster is really heavy. And if they're consistently heavy, maybe we need to get them higher. Certain businesses, basically a lot of your restaurants that tend to cook from scratch are heavy. other restaurants that basically buy microwave food, I guess you say, they don't have a lot of waste. So they're not too bad. So there's always that fluctuation. And so I need to try to look at the weights of that and increase. Kind of like, right now the county's, I'm not sure how you guys set that up. I know there used to be a standard, if you had a bar, it was gonna be so many units. Which is basically one size fits all, because one bar might generate, like the VFW post, generates a lot of garbage, they got a lot of business. Where the other ones, say Swedes downtown, not so much.
So it's in the policy that where it gives those numbers for each business, but then in this proposed modified one, we talk about how that could be amended by agreement based upon actual usage. But to me, it does need to be by agreement so that the customer knows they're understanding that's the amount that they're using and that's the amount that we put on their taxes. So there's a paper trail there.
Yeah, and then I get into some of these. I don't know. Areas like motor RV spots. Are you charging them for that? Are we?
What's a business, so I don't know what I don't know. I guess that's something Vicky's gotta let us know on.
Well, of course, she's got the RV spots, so she probably would know.
What you're talking about, RV business or
People, there's gonna be a lot of them. Now we're setting up an RV spot for people to come and park the motor home there for the summer.
yeah, I think have to look at the policy, but it's structured, I believe, and then so but
Who
Yeah,
determines the units? The solid waste, right?
yeah, it's the base of the
I mean, who
2000.
determines the units?
2000.
Does Vicky determine the units?
It's set by policy. So that
I
The
know it's
policy-
set by policy, but who set by policy determines it? Does Scott, the new clerk, set it, or does Vicky set it? Do you know, Scott?
No, I don't.
Can we have Vicky in here? Is she, okay,
I think Vicky does.
Vicky does it?
I think so.
Yes.
When I got one of these RVs and these other ones that they were talking about, when I talked to her, if they're running or Lynn's, maybe Lynn said it, that if they're having a business work out, they'd have a unit for their house and a unit for their business.
that's the
Hi,
that'd be
Vicky.
the
Do you set the units? Who sets the units?
always.
Well, it's a collaboration, I would say. Between solid waste and me and Rana, you. So we all decide, depending upon if it's like a business. So a business gets more than just an individual person.
So you're just eyeballing it, though, you're looking at a dumpster, and if it seems heavy, you're telling Vicky,
Yeah, basically, this is consistency. I think a couple years ago,
We went through the business part, yeah.
I said, I asked her what this business produced, and she said this. And I says it definitely needs to go up because they're producing way over that amount. I can really judge it pretty close. I mean, the weight I've never really worried about. I've always just looked at volume, so now I need to. I got one business downtown. The base has a dumpster, it's filled, but they also fill it full of gravel. This dumpster's extremely heavy. One of the sapphire places. And, I gotta say, could you guys
And they
spread?
fill crap.
Yes. I think maybe this year they quit, but last year it was terrible.
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Yeah, we couldn't even pick, we got where we couldn't pick the dumpsters up, they're so heavy. But I thought, it seemed like you could find a pothole or something to put. this
Yeah, you
stuff,
can put it at my house, I wouldn't care.
So,
gravel would take care of your unit and nothing.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, and so.
Oh my God, what
Well, I-
dumpster would be your
Yeah, it probably would be, and that's, you know, and so, I don't know how many units they pay for.
I don't
You
know
know,
what-
and
how
so-
many units they got, see, that's the thing without us all having communication, we don't know.
So,
So Vicky, he used
Oh,
you
truck.
as, he used you as an example. Because you have an RV park with what? How many units do you have on your little RV?
Actually one.
and that's just for the RV spot then,
Yeah,
it's good.
up there,
Yeah.
but then that, like that dumpster takes care of.
Your
3
house.
houses,
Yeah,
well,
Yeah.
2 houses and the RV, so.
Yeah.
But sometimes I have a bag, that's like I was telling you guys, one time, 1 week I'll have a bag of garbage. And the next time, you know, when we cleaned up that lot, the dumpster was packed full.
So the county would need to know the number, all those customers that are not just one per, if there's 3 using that dumpster. Need the names of those folks and then what their units are.
right, yeah, so basically, right now, my customer list shows Vicky Hardy,
Yeah, you would know that.
includes 3 units, and that's gonna be, and she's not the only one, and that's the one I'm trying to figure it out. And I got a pretty good idea for most of them. And then like the businesses, I have no idea.
Go ahead, John.
This is a joke. This is the same old argument we've gone through over and over and over through the years. It's gotta be weighted. I mean, just simple as that. Gotta be weighted.
You'd figure out a way.
Hmm,
I guess you could. I could haul the garbage myself to a dump and let my customers go. I have no way to weigh it on my trucks.
I know, and that's the whole problem.
Yeah, and I
So
know,
if we had a way to weigh it, or somebody else did, then we wouldn't have this problem, would we?
right, I agree.
Aren't there like standalone bins that weigh where you could use those attached into your truck and use that, or is that?
Yeah, they don't work. See, my truck don't. Just pick it up like that, it leans it. The weight goes on the truck and then we tip it in, so, yeah, I've looked at something similar. And, they just. There's just not anything really designed out there for. What I have, plus I got such a variety of equipment that runs into problem. And there's a lot of extra trucks.
The Chuck's, I mean, yeah, I'm trying to find a way for this to work, but what Chuck's saying is right, I mean, it's the only fair way to do it. I mean,
So what he's saying is it's not feasible for him. And what we're saying, it's not feasible for the taxpayer that pay the dump fee.
And that's what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to bring some equity here for us. Find out where my volume's coming from, making sure we're covered. And making sure that. The county's getting their dollars. Or, I don't know what your overage is, you know.
So are there trucks, garbage trucks in this world that have weight or they can weigh them? There's no garbage trucks.
The only type of scales that come on are basically. Record your total weight. And so basically keep your road legal, so you don't exceed your GVW stuff. To try to weigh smaller increments is really difficult. And then the other part that they tell you, that any trucks that cannot be certified in good trade. Well, if we try to say, okay, we're weighing, you only weigh 600 pounds. They can come back and say, that's not a legal scales, you cannot charge them for that. Because they cannot certify these scales. I got a letter I wrote, you weren't here last time. But they kind of explained what I had researched. I did leave one there.
Copy in my file.
So what was that text?
That was with,
So Scott looked at the total, weights you had from July 1, 2022 through June 2023. And your total tonnage was 1,302.97, so almost 1,303 tons. Based on the 770 customers, that would be per customer 3,384, which would be over if they're as individual property owners, but yeah, the issue that needs to be looked at is business units are part of that. So, but right there, there's definitely red flags that are concerned there that that they're actually gone over the, if you're looking at a cooperative, potentially there's some over, we'd have to look at the business units there.
There's a pretty big percentage. I mean, there's a lot of multiple units out there. I mean,
Well, and if you have
units and stuff.
also your, one dumpster with potentially three card holders, that would affect it as well, but the county not knowing that is not knowing that is the issue with.
I think you're gonna be good to, I'm assuming, I do yours, and I'm assuming your mom and dad's units on there too.
No, that's just mine. If they take it, it's going to the dump, but yeah, that's what needs to be.
So what's happening is more garbage is going in the dumpster than what we have units that what we're getting paid units for.
If they're basing that off of non-businesses being part of that, but
If we're basing it off units that we're receiving from tax
Yeah.
dollars, we're not getting enough tax dollars for the garbage that's being hauled. So BFI charges us for the actual units, but we don't have enough money,
Well,
and that's why we're in the red.
we don't know yet. We have to figure out what my multiple units. You got the base 750 customers. There might be 1,000 units. To multiple units. Go on now.
Yeah.
Like the bar has, I'm sorry.
I just wanna throw this out, I don't know what, why don't we just charge him for what he's hauling in, he can take care of all his customers. I mean, he can pass that cost on to the 700 customers. Let's just make sure the county gets paid for what he is hauling in. And forget about the units.
that would be that's a fair way to do it, because it's based on actual weights, and then their units would be totally. I mean, I guess you'd have to figure out if the customer wants to use their unit or not, but it would be ground disposal billing the customer for all that weight. That is a fair way to do it.
But then are they gonna be released from the units that you charge them for the county?
That'd have to be a discussion there.
Because then we're double billing them. And it will put me out of business, but majority of people say, well, I'm not gonna pay a county fee and you both for the same customer service.
Well,
But you're already charging them.
I'm charging them for pickup, but I don't charge them for disposal.
Oh,
I could see where you could be given a credit for that, potentially for that cooperative, but anything over that, so the county would have to have specifically all your customers and their units. They given the credit off of your total weight for the year, but you would be responsible for that. What you're saying is you'd be responsible for that overage.
well, I
They'd
wonder
have to bill out.
how that actually comes out in real numbers, if you had all the units.
Yeah.
Because they're not even on. there,
It may
you know
not,
what I mean?
it may not be over, but the commission in the position right now that they just don't know. So getting that information on the specific number of customers with their specific units is necessary versus just just a generic customer list.
so if we took your customer list and went through that customer list. And decided or we put down how many units each of those customers have. would that help this process along?
Well, I think that's our next step.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
We
what
don't
I'm
know.
thinking.
It's a, yeah,
Your customer that's all this. I didn't look at the report,
Yeah.
okay,
it's a necessity, I would say,
Yeah.
because the county is
Absolutely.
blind otherwise.
okay.
Yeah.
We could do that.
And then I'll have to get with you, because like I said, there's some that are like you, who might have multiple units that are. The name says Vicky Harding, but there's 3 units, and I got,
Right.
you know, and I'm not sure if I even know where all of them are. I gotta work on that.
I think it's a start. I mean, we're getting.
It would actually be a start, it's doing something towards the purpose of trying to figure out how we can fix it.
And I realize, you know, the chew on this over. My business are growing. You know, I get. Their volume is increasing, so the businesses are getting bigger, they're increasing more in their garbage. But the county units has always remained the same. And we need to do some due diligence and making sure that, you know, the great big guy is not paying the same as the little guy, because he's doing it.
Because when we did this several years ago, you know, we really went through the businesses and I mean, the biggest one was like the Rocking Jet, the Rocking K, Rocking, whatever you want to call it. Because I mean, it went from very few to like they should, because they have garbage 3 days a week out there.
Yeah.
So I mean, that was one of the biggest ones that we changed. And I think if we did that again,
I think, yeah, they're really generous.
and then just the individual customers that you have.
Yeah.
See, this is what we talked about before, trying to figure out how many units and whatever, we
Yeah.
keep going in the hole.
Cause that was at that time, Rocking J was paying for 8 units.
Yeah, oh my gosh, and they were getting garbage 3 days and
And-
3 days. a week.
I think they got knocked up to 30 because nobody has. Well, they're building all the time, you know,
Yeah,
they
Well,
got,
that's the thing, we don't know. I mean,
But-
we're
yeah,
gonna
that's just
have to
it,
get-
we don't know.
We knock out the
You know, the way
garbage,
that, you know,
that's up to you to bring to us, and that's what we were asking before, there's. You
Sometimes-
see the abundance of garbage in these places, you need to let these guys know, so, cause right now.
Gotta be
we're just going in the
ongoing.
hole.
Yeah, it's gotta be ongoing update.
And I mean, like, you know, when they're building, I don't know who tells Vicky. Rocking Cages out of 3 new houses.
Nobody.
nobody.
Because I don't know that either, you know, I may say construction, but I don't know. who-
So at the beginning of the fiscal year, Rocking J or whatever, flying checkbook or whatever, had 8 units, and at the end of the year, they still had 8 units.
Yeah.
Right,
And so
and then
we,
the following year, we put like 30 more units on there because.
I mean, I'm just like-
Based
Trying
on
to
usage,
clear some
yeah.
of that deficit that we weren't, they didn't have. The amount of yardage that he was actually hauling. So, I mean, that made us feel better on just on that one business.
Well, how does like, when he pulls in, like some of these where he sees they're building a new place now, and he's pulling in there, then he should be not giving that to you that. I picked up this garbage at this place,
well,
otherwise we don't have a clue, I mean, you're the one that's getting, and you're going in there and dumping it, and we're paying.
yeah, well, that's it, see, I mean, Rocking K has.
I'm talking about other.
Yeah, but okay, usually I don't. I mean, if I see building, I don't necessarily know who's on it. Like Kelly Clarkston, I know that she's building 4 new houses out there. When does that hit the books,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
I don't know,
A lot of it,
Well,
it's,
sure you do, it's their
well, I do
dumpster.
know, but I guess I've always assumed that the tax auditor would tell Vicky that there's
The
so many
person
houses.
who's out there looking for new
Someone's,
houses.
someone's putting somebody else's garbage in somebody else's dumpster, is that what you're saying?
Well,
No, not necessarily,
no,
no.
well,
New
that,
houses, when is that person actually putting it in the dumpster is the question.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, when
right
they
now,
gotta
we're
be
getting a
there,
lot of these
it's-
high-end ranches. And all of them are building something. So,
Well, I mean, that's what we gotta go through and see who has how many units. I mean, we can sit here and go over and over and over, but you're the one that's gotta know what.
I'll, you know, and if I can, you know. You know, like I
As
said.
far as the county goes, what difference does it make if we have them? He pays for the overage.
I'll pay for overage.
We still have to know the exact number of customers.
need-
Right, we figure that out.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
how much there should be, and then we pass that on to him. And then the county gets paid for how much is hauled. It's pretty simple.
So question, Vicky, and this is, there's gotta be some kind of checks and balances. So BFI comes in with what they picked up. Do we compare with the units? So we have no clue, we just take BFI's word. Shouldn't there be some kind of checks and balances?
There should, but how are we,
Well, because
How are you
that's
gonna
what's the
do
problem,
that?
that was the big problem, is because
Yeah.
his dumpster, his truck goes in there and loads the dumpster, and the only thing that gets recorded is the private person that
that
goes in
brings in
there.
effect?
His trucks get rated every time.
His trucks get rated, but they don't get charged to anybody.
No.
Right,
Right.
Well, I think the first
That's
thing,
the
and I
whole
think that, on my end, I think the first thing is going through your customer list. We can put down how many units, all these, and then we can kinda, at least then we can do that part.
You
Then
have
we
that
can
now?
figure, yeah, we have his customer list.
and that's gotta be on a, to me, at least a quarterly basis, cause
That's-
it's always up and
yeah,
down
I
on your.
was gonna say, even if we had it just once a year where we could. Before the fiscal year starts, before taxes come out.
Prorated
Where,
list.
yeah, where we can adjust people's, number of units.
so then you do kind of have an idea of what goes in the dumpsters.
This is trucks, yeah, we know. how
Yeah,
much
and with,
weight.
with
Yeah,
private
I gave him the
customers
list.
yeah, that's the 1,303 for last
from
fiscal
his
year,
dumps, from his.
Yeah,
Yeah,
just from his dump,
yeah.
just from his truck.
1,303 tons.
And from private customers, you should be able to compile a total.
Well, you can average it out, and then that's,
Average.
and that doesn't even work, because we don't know. If he's picking up at one site, and there's 3 taxpayer IDs in there, but it's only one site. We're not seeing the other 2 to add to this, numbers. So we need a multiplier for each side of the pickup. Most of them are just one, and there's one tax ID, but like there's. Trailer park or something like that, there might be 3 taxpayers in there that we're not counting.
Well, once a year would never work, because if you did it every quarter, say, okay, I got 1 unit. On your paper, the first year said I pay for 1 unit, and you just keep hauling, then you're keeping track of that shit, he's over his unit already. Then I gotta get another unit, but if you're not hauling it for me, and you just do that at the end of the year, and the Rancher Rock Creek hauls in 50 semi loads. And then you raise it the next year, well, how is that, that's not right,
It's not equitable, if you just average it across.
it's not, you gotta do it quarterly, because.
There's some people putting blocks in the dump.
I agree.
Yeah.
How do you account for that?
Quarterly would be the.
Cause there's so much new building and everything.
But under this scenario, it'd be a hybrid of cooperative versus and overages paid. Which is consistent with the current policy that people pay their overages, and if he's the one that has the overage. If you're allowing him to do the cooperative and he has overages, then he gets billed for it, but then. Once that individual customer hits they're given their full credit, they go in and do extra, then they pay, I would assume they get billed for their own, or just like we've been doing. So he's only responsible for the cooperative's overages, the individual taxpayers liable for their own
I think-
overages.
Just what they're saying, let's go over and see how many units, not look over the list, and let's start there, at least we're getting moving on this, we're saying it's not.
Over it, yeah, exactly.
You want me to put in policy what we've talked about here in the draft?
So basically, I'm assuming we're starting July 1st, we just hit, in of September would be the first quarter. I need to balance out my customer list with what I've hauled in. Now, this is my big time of year, August. July to September was my heaviest time because summer.
Well, the proposed policy talks about, I think, the first of the year, but we can start getting it going now to be prepared, to,
So we gotta move on it.
Yeah.
We keep going every week and we're not doing that.
Well,
We're not
you know,
getting-
yeah, just like I said, communication, let's get together on this.
No, Scott,
I'd like to bring up something that, that should be discussed is, so you have a customer that gets picked up and then they have their allotted stuff given to you. Apparently, but they also come into the dump site. So what's the policy of they're bringing in, 500 pounds of cleanup or whatever? So there's a, does that get charged differently and how we?
See, the only
go?
thing we're keeping track of is the $500 pounds that he brings in by himself.
Yeah. so
No,
he's-
whatever, yeah, and so whatever Rick hauls for him is not accounted for anywhere.
It's invisible, so
Right.
that's just saying.
It is,
so right now, under the new, potentially under a proposed new policy. Updated quarterly with your information, and then at the, potentially the end of the year, we know if the person's bringing in that 500, or even
Right.
mid-year. If
Right.
they're over, then they could be sent
yeah,
a
it has to
bill.
be quarterly, I'm just all there quarterly,
Yeah.
'cause then we can keep
So-
better tabs and.
We wouldn't fully know until, I guess potentially if,
till the end of the fiscal period when,
Okay,
yeah,
so what you're saying is he's gonna bring in quarterly and then quarterly you're gonna update every one of his customers.
we're gonna see how much.
Yeah.
Garbage, yeah,
yeah,
Right,
where now they are double dipping,
well, there's no tracking on the pickups.
no tracking on
But
his
if they come to the
pickups.
dump site, yeah, I'll track that dump site.
See what, like you have one unit, but you can still go dump and it's,
Right, no, I.
He can dump up to 2,000 pounds before he has an overage.
Yeah.
But he can have his dumpster dumped.
Yeah.
Whatever,
Yeah.
yeah.
but like right now, a lot of the overage is billed after the fiscal year,
Yeah,
correct?
exactly.
That would likely continue. But if, yeah, someone brings in over 2,000 pounds and they're gonna, it's automatically gonna, yeah. they're
But
gonna be over.
it's a business of bigger people are. And if you wait till the end of the year, then how do you ever bill them,
Well, you can't. You gotta do it.
That's why I was thinking.
Yeah,
Quarterly
Yeah.
would be, so you'd have an idea.
So, well, we'll get this started on that.
We can get started on
We'll-
some recording, yeah.
Put it back on again, we just gotta keep, well, we don't go back off, we're gone this far, but.
Yeah, I admit, I just kind of let it go. I'm busy. I'm trying to keep the
No, but.
junky old truck on the road and, bookwork is not my thing, and so it's just something to,
You're just gonna have.
bury
to
your
be-
head in the sand and not worry about what's going on and nobody tells me what the county's really running in the red here, and
yeah,
I see like Powell County raised their garbage rate to 170 a month, or I mean, a year on the county stuff, so you guys are
Wow.
doing well, you should be commended. The other thing that I wanted to bring up, I was approached last week by a company who has got approval to build a regional landfill in, I'm not sure where, but in an area, western Montana. And they asked me if I would be willing to haul my garbage, and I said, well, no, the county does. So they asked me to ask you, if they get their landfill, if you would be willing to sit down with them and negotiate, because they said we can save you money. So that's what they wanted, if you were open, no, this is not a commitment, they're just asking, are you open to this, if they can.
Well, we'll look into it, yeah, when you save money, why not? I mean,
Cause they felt that, they can go head to head with BFI, or Republic, whatever they call themselves. You and I are the same, BFI for us.
I'm trying to think of our contract term with them.
It's coming up.
Yeah, it is coming up.
2024,
So
2025.
probably the right
Maybe
time.
it's-
to
we
look
can
at
do it
it.
no matter what.
Yeah.
It's that we had a call looking over a deer,
Yeah.
park. I mean, we have.
Yeah,
we
could be
gotta
looking
start
at it.
Shopping around, we gotta save some money on this, we're going whole
I agree.
bad.
Do you have? I get waste hauler magazines that have a lot of this equipment, some good used stuff and some new stuff. Like if you're looking for roll-offs, would you want a copy of this magazine to?
Sure.
I mean, if you guys are thinking about hauling your own, If you're going to Deer Lodge or something like that.
We look into it, and it just isn't feasible.
Okay.
And no, we just, so, no, we'll look into this other stuff, but we're gonna move on to.
Okay, you done with me then?
Huh?
You done with me?
Yes,
I'm gonna talk.
Be on next week.
Yeah, next week, yeah.
You want it on next week again? Okay.
We back off, let's get.
The,
So we can get post pounder then.
That's why I asked you guys if you were wanting to get lunch.
Huh?
If you were involved with that one, get a post pounder. Rent the air compressor.
Well, what did Vicky say?
No,
Vicky kind of actually
No,
was saying that.
we're on the roads.
Cause I asked earlier about, Paul was wondering about, cause when I said, is it okay for him to go ahead and get a post pounder?
You know what?
Post pounder. Delineator
I
pounder.
guess.
Yeah,
Not the garbage guy.
yes, get one.
Alrighty, well,
That's it. I guess for now.
one other quick thing, we got a quick minute here, about the drum and sand. We've all drum and salt sand every year. And we just been giving it to them, or we're gonna do that again this year,
Oh, the towner drum.
the town of drum.
How many loads were we given last year?
8, I think.
I think something we're gonna have to talk about next week, we'll think about it. But that wouldn't hold nothing down there.
Oh, no, I just wanna, we need to discuss it.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Okay,
it's,
not
just-
next week.
it's not bad to help out now, but just, we just keep giving and giving and.
Yeah, let's talk about
Okay, talk about next Tuesday.
Okay, sounds good. See you guys.
yeah,
Alright, so now we're
it.
into
So
the debt.
quick back to the garbage. What if they're on his list? Why can't we say anything they haul in is an overreach? And if they don't like it, they can just do their own thing and haul all of it.
you could require that. He's saying all that put us out of business too, but he could then bill his, he could then
Yeah.
bill his customers for that.
And he's admitting that he should have been doing this, he just said that, you know, he's.
I don't know if that put him out of business, it was just they would be responsible for paying it, but
Pay as you go.
then they still have their 2,000 pounds with the county, but
Yeah, they can have that, but if
Yeah.
they hauled something in separate, we weighed it and said it's overage and charged for it.
just charge
Yeah.
just charge him
If they don't like
the
it, they
the
can-
base rate.
They can just do their own thing and haul it in like the rest of us.
No, I like the idea, what
Yeah.
you said earlier too, that was way, yeah, that's.
They would have to do then a year commitment with Granite Disposal to haul their garbage, cause what if you were only a customer then for,
But he's
Or
saying
for a quarter.
they just totally bill them for, so it'd be by their,
Yeah,
it'd be their deal with,
no, that's a good way to
Yeah,
go.
it's totally their
He
deal.
does all that with, yeah, cause.
So they'd still pay their solid waste fee, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. Right, they get their regular unit. And he's hauling their regular unit, right?
he gets
But if
charged.
they take
for-
their pickup truck and go in there and if they're on his list,
you know,
then we just charge them for it.
And then that's he can deal with, cause we don't know how
Yeah.
much
So
he's.
you're just dealing with him only.
This is the whole thing, is that we don't have a clue who's he's on or what he's on and how much, we're getting these tonnage.
Let
It's
me-
just not fair.
Let me know how you want that policy to read. If that's the way that he pays for all overages.
I'm with him on that, I mean, it's up to him, I mean, it's just like when you're saying, well, they're building four new houses, well, he sees that stuff and he sees
Yeah.
what's going on.
Like-
with the ends.
I guess not overage, just pay as you go, and he gets that same, he gets the same rate.
If they're on his haul list, they go to the dump on their own, they pay as you go. That's what he
Yeah.
thinks is going on. That's what he said was going on from the get-go, and it wasn't.
But what Chuck's talking about is that sole bill, if that's for the 1,302 would go to Granite Disposal, they pay that and pass that on to they bill their customers
We're
out.
gonna have to, because otherwise we're just eating it all the time. And
Yeah.
the excuses.
Well, what I'm thinking is, I'm thinking that there's more garbage going out,
Oh, there is.
There is.
way out
That's why
than
we-
we have
That's
units.
why we're doing it.
That's why we're so far,
That's why we're paying more to BFI than what we have units.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
The only thing I'm thinking of with that scenario is that Rocky, the ranch at Rock Creek paying 30 units, then that would have to be adjusted back to like a base amount. Cause then they'd be paying that 30 units to on their taxes and then having to pay grant disposal.
Yeah, but we don't know.
Well, that's what
really,
they're still doing.
We don't know they're really doing 30 units, so. They might be doing 40.
We'll never know, because there ain't no way.
But he's told if they're his customer, then he's totally paying for that. And then they're having additional 30 on their taxes.
We mean he's totally paying for it.
If Chuck's idea was that this 1303 that they
Yeah,
have,
they
that
bring it
they pay as you go on that, the grant disposal, so they get billed out on that on a monthly basis or whatever. So then they totally pay for their own, and they pass that fee on to their customer. But saying a ranch at Rock Creek has 30 units and he's taking all their garbage, then they'd have to pay him for all that garbage, and then they have the 30 units on their taxes.
Yeah.
That'd have to be adjusted back to them paying their a base on
Yeah, but
their.
if they had 30 units. If that's what it is, then
Yeah,
that's what it is.
they have
They'd
30
to
units
they'd have to
garbage.
pay
It's
the-
got, yeah, per yeah, how it is on the policy per, living unit. And if they have you're right, the living units.
Yeah, and they would definitely have probably 30 units.
All right, well, we're gonna move on to Georgetown Lake.
Sorry.
And the dam tender report is 7.56 inches below at 6428.87. What's your?
I'm gonna move to stay until, as we are until October 1st, then we'll go down to 20 for. Till October 15th.
Good.
Was it down to 20 or down to 15?
Down to 20. 220, but now.
I second it.
Public comment? Being none, all in favor?
Aye.
We carried past. On the other note, on the dam, he ordered them gates and we figured he'd have them in about a week or so. Up there in the walkway gates. I talked to him last week, so we'll have that done. And then we gotta make sure and have all get that load of gravel up there and the rip wrap, so we can tell Green that we've done that stuff. Tell them all too, that we need a load of. Just to fix that corner before it starts raining and then it washes that down there, where it'll stand, we told Green we fix that. That way then we'll have our list pretty much done for that part.
Probably should ask Todd Blythe for a report, probably 1st of October and end of October. Just what that
Okay.
report's.
All right. We're getting caught back up here. We'll jump into the resolution 2023-13. Abandoning portions of Cedar Street and alleyway in block 15 and the platted unincorporated county site of that, the first readings all.
Yeah, I apologize. I thought I got that to Billy. That was on me.
No.
Here it is.
Okay, so we'll be back on next week when you sign it.
Yeah, it talks about the abandoning that portion of Cedar Street and the alleyway in block 15, that portion. And then reserves the easements that are recorded.
All right, we'll move into the fiscal year 2024 county motor vehicle graveyard grant to junk vehicle graveyard. We have that.
I think you have the original. And I think she gave a little sticky, that green sticky on the back where we need to
So
signature.
I take a motion on this, if you want to accept it. And the grant's 25,988.20.
And that is the grant where, our clerk and recorder is going out and putting numbers on vehicles and calling various, various,
Right, I get in the vendor's signature.
Yes.
So is there a motion?
I make a motion that we accept the, motor vehicle graveyard grant. Granite County.
What's that?
Public comment? Being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Carried, pass. And we'll wait for Sarah to come in and talk about that air and the county.
I had a question for you guys about whether or not you guys wanted to have your October 17th meeting, since it will be during the Bakay trial. And two of you may be upstairs.
You know, we might postpone that day, do it back, cause it's, yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
it's,
but
you and I are on that.
I could have you testify in the afternoon or whatever too, if you want, but it's a.
You go just skip that day, so we can concentrate on that. Is
Okay,
that all right with you guys?
Okay, man.
you
we
do
should
have
be on
5
that too.
Tuesdays in October,
Yeah,
so,
so-
Oh, 5 Tuesdays.
Yeah.
Do a longer Tuesday than.
okay. I just wanted to confirm that.
And can you still meet today, Blanche, at 1, get the deposition
Yes.
for you? Okay.
All right. Come on up.
Oh, just signing up for the junk deals.
Oh, they just did it.
Oh, they did.
Yep, they're ready.
They're ready. Okay, thank you.
Read the thing, we can do that.
Yeah.
Those 12 times, so. Sorry, I would have been here. Thank you.
Oh, you wanted to talk to her about the levy?
No, that's coming up next.
Oh, okay.
Just a
All
second.
right. I gotta go upstairs and do the meeting. Yeah, I gotta do some stuff. Mental health commitments.
So, yeah, I'll just pop up,
Okay,
or do you want me to come at a specific time?
one work or, yeah, or after this
Okay.
party. Yeah.
What?
There's gonna be a
Lynn's
little
party.
party at
Lynn's
noon.
Party?
Lynn's
party.
I didn't know that, sorry. Where's that at?
right
Right
there.
out here.
Oh, okay, that what the table was, yeah, that's what the noisy table was.
All right, well, we'll go ahead into the, air in the county levies adopted the physical year.
Hi. Sarah Graham, working recorder. Yeah, when I was preparing for doing the budget report, I discovered that I had made an error in the hospital levy numbers. I had used the wrong calculation, so I wanted to get that corrected. So,
Do we have to make a motion to accept that? Or is it done and-
I don't know. So what I did say that this is amended, or corrected, and then I put the date down at the bottom, the 26th, but left the other date. Do you think that that's?
I think because we are amending it. We have to amend it.
I think so.
So and just for explanation is the fact that the commission decided to let Lower Rock Creek escape from the hospital district back in the day. They are no longer countywide, so that the voted hospital nursing home levy is not a countywide levy.
So instead of the 21,810, it's the 203,307.
Make a motion to.
So I make a motion that we accept the amended levy for the hospital nursing home levy of the 19.70 mils allowable for the voted levy for the hospital.
My second.
Public comment? Being none, all in favor?
All right.
Aye, thank you.
And that would be a very easy mistake to make when
I believe you
you're
signed.
used to it being a wide levy.
Anyway, I'm just glad I caught it and caught the 400 instead of 380
Due to the mistake of the Granite County Commission.
years ago.
Years ago, before my time.
So, anyway, I'm just glad I caught it.
Yeah. It was good that it could be corrected.
Yes, I was grateful because I was a little panicked there when I saw it.
Yeah, it would be, yeah.
You do have a public comment from Elena.
Thank you for all you do.
Go ahead, Elena.
Hey, thank you. For the record, Elena Gagliano. So this motion to correct it is gonna be written up and will that be put online?
Yes, we can put it on them.
Yes.
Was that yes, Sarah?
Yes, I can put it up online. We can
Okay,
get it-
thank you. Good job.
All right, I'll get it signed and I'll scan
Repost
it
it.
to you. Okay, thank you.
And Amanda Cooley won't be here, so it's pretty much done for the day.
Okay, do that.
Yeah.
She's over here.
She's gonna reschedule.
Hmm?
She has to reschedule. That's when you just did.
Well, I guess I think the motion is done for the day. I don't know nothing else. I'd entertain a motion, so we
We
done.
like sitting here.
Huh?
We like sitting here.
Oh, okay.
No, I'll move here. Adjourn for the day.
I'll call Scott right now and have him, maybe have a deputy go out there. All right,
So you're having to get to go out there for,
their trucks are going too fast and there's traffic out there where they're working.
you made a motion to adjourn. Okay, I'll second it.
Public comment? Being none.